You're listening to the ESO Network, your station for all things geek.
Hey there, welcome to episode 220 of the Soul Forge podcast.
Welcome to the Soul Forge, a place of silent mystery, quiet contemplation, and outright mayhem. Join your host, Sean Vanderloo, as he guides you through the adventures of living. Together, we'll talk about life and love, sex and dating, joy and heartache, memories and loss, and so much more. Don't worry, it's not nearly as pretentious as it sounds. Get ready for life, the universe, and everything on the Soul Forge.
Well, hello gang, back at you with another exciting episode of the show. Of course, I'm Sean, as always, your host, and I'm here to entertain you. Maybe this is going to be, well, maybe you would think by the title that it's going to be a very downbeat, sad episode. Maybe it will be. I haven't really figured that out yet, but we'll see how it goes as we go along. I don't want to be a depressing kind of whatever, but what's brought on the Grief Portal episode? Well, a few different things. So I guess I'm getting right into it. No little preamble here, so let's just delve right into the topic and see what happens. Okay, so as I'm recording this, it is September 22nd. This will come out tomorrow on the 23rd. But the reason that it's significant is because September 22nd is my mother's birthday. This is the 7th one that she hasn't been around for. She's been gone since 2014. I guess the reason why I'm thinking about this whole topic to begin with is because in my Facebook memories 4 years ago, I had recorded a tribute episode for Mom back then, and that was the first year of this podcast. And currently listening to Mark Maron's WTF podcast, as I always do, but normally I'm pretty well caught up to date. But I've been listening to so many different podcasts lately that I'm about 35 episodes behind. So I'm listening to episodes from May right now. And I don't know if you know this or can't remember or whatever, but in May of 2020, Mark Maron, he lost his girlfriend Lynn, not to COVID, but she had some kind of health crisis and she passed away suddenly. And it was very heart-wrenching, very heartbreaking. Episode 153 was me covering that. So if you want to go back to May of last year and listen to the episode 153 for a refresher, you can. But basically, I'm listening to his current May episodes. It was just the 1 year anniversary of Lynn's passing, and you could still hear the sadness in his voice. And even though they weren't together for very long, you could tell that he had finally found the love of his life. And just when he was finally learning to be happy and accept happiness and that good things could happen to him, bam, the universe takes her away from him. And he's still carrying on, but you can definitely hear in his voice that the sadness remains, of course. And he actually mentioned on an episode, probably, well, more than a year ago, something about how he was traveling down or through the grief portal. And I wrote that down because I thought that would be a great episode title for an episode of Soul Forge. And about a year later, I decided that this is the week for doing the grief portal episode. So here we go. Not only am I listening to the 1 year anniversary of Mark Maron's girlfriend dying, I'm also in the middle of, well, not in the middle of, it's Mom's birthday today, and she's been gone for just over 7.5 years, and that pain never really goes away. And so I was thinking about things, and as many of you know, I recently started up an Etsy shop to start decluttering and getting rid of my collectibles and stuff. The last time I saw my mother was October of 2013. Her dad had just died, my grandfather, who we nicknamed Bumpa. So he died in 2013 in October, and so he didn't want a funeral. So instead of me going to the Sioux and going to a funeral, Mom came up and visited me for about a week. We spent a lot of time together. We visited her dad's grave because he was born in Timmins, where I am, and died in 1937. So we found the grave, and we just spent time together doing things. And one of the excursions that we did, we went to an antique shop. We found a sign, an old metal sign that she wanted. It was for Black Cat cigarettes. And she always used to tell the story of when people tried to get her to smoke in high school. She would say, "Oh no, I just quit." And they would ask her, "Well, what did you use to smoke?" And she'd say, "Black Cat cigarettes." And I don't think she didn't think that even existed, but she saw the sign and it brought back all kinds of memories. So we ended up with it, and I have it here. And what I've done this week actually is I put a ridiculous price on it and put it up on the Etsy shop. I put it up at a high price because I don't really want to sell it, because that's the last memory I have of being together with Mom. Now, obviously, we talked on the phone October, November, December, January, February, and March when she died. So we talked once or twice a week. But it was that October that was the last time I saw her. And so I've been carrying around this sign for the last 7+ years, kind of as a memorial or a token of our last visit together. And this whole decluttering thing and being a minimalist, or trying to be at least, because I got too much crap here. So I put it up online, and I was like, I didn't know if I should feel guilty, if it's just, it doesn't matter because it doesn't need to be nostalgic or whatever. So it was difficult to put it up, but I put it up for a high price. And if it sells, I guess it sells. And if it doesn't, that's fine too. So what do you guys and girls out there in podcast land think? Should I have posted that for sale? Because it is the last significant thing that Mom and I did together. So I don't know, and I don't know if I should feel bad about posting it or listing it for sale. So if you have an opinion or any thoughts on this, it would really help me out if you could email me, soulforgepodcast@gmail.com, and let me know what your thoughts are. That would be awesome. So is this a Mom's tribute episode? Is this a depressing Mark Maron recap episode? No, not really. I just wanted to talk about how you can go down the grief portal, or flow through the grief portal, or jump through it, whatever, a portal, like a door. And you could get caught in the whirlpool of grief and sadness and all that kind of thing. Or you could turn it around and celebrate the life of the person that you're remembering. There's all kinds of options. And it's not just people that have died that you can have grief over. I listed a few things here, like friendships. When friendships end for whatever reason, you can grieve that. Or relationships, when your marriage breaks up, or you're just a normal relationship, it ends. You can grieve that. Like, as many of you know, when my marriage to Bridget ended, I was heartbroken, and I grieved for quite a long time, and I never thought I'd get out of it, but I did, and I'm fine now. So yeah, friendships, relationships, the death of people, or even when you change jobs. You could grieve that part of your life. So there's all kinds of different things that you can be sad about or think about, or all kinds of things. But before we talk about other kinds of sadness and whatever, let's play Dr. Geek's vaccine promo.
Welcome to Dr. Geek's Laboratory.
Dr. Geek here with another reminder that the ESO Network is pro-science and pro-vaccine. We urge you to be a superhero and protect yourself, your family, and your fellow geeks around the world. Don't be fooled by the forces of evil and their anti-science misinformation campaign. Consult the latest CDC guidelines, your doctor, and get the COVID vaccine today.
And then we will play a promo for another podcast right here on the ESO Network.
Have you been searching for that one heavy metal podcast that covers all of your favorite geeky topics as well? Well, look no further. The Metal Geeks Podcast is here to save the day. Whether you are into video games, films, comic books, theme parks, or even, yes, heavy metal, then the Metal Geeks Podcast is a place for you. Check us out on all of your favorite podcasting apps, and we are proud members of the ESO Network. Keep it geeky and keep it metal.
Okay, so that was a couple words from our sponsors, and wasn't that awesome? I bet you're going to go check out the podcast and get your vaccine if you haven't already, or at least wear your mask or whatever he says in that thing. I can't remember now. Anyway, so I was just going through the list of people that I have lost in my life. When Mom passed, I somehow became the keeper of family records. So my brothers and I are in a messenger chat, and we'll often talk and just whatever. So on the 19th of September, I said, hey, guess what? Today is the 35th anniversary of great-grandfather passing away. So that was my mom's grandfather. So Wilfred was his name, and he died September 19th, 1986. I had just turned, 10? And I think that is the first death that registered for me. They buried him on September 22nd, my mom's birthday, 3 days after he passed. So that's something that has always stuck in my mind. And I messaged the brothers and I said, guess what, brothers? Today's that anniversary. And they're like, wow. I'm like, yeah. And I said, I don't know why I remember this stuff, but I guess I'm the new keeper of that information, because my mom was super into all the anniversaries and the dates, and she knew everything. After writing that down, I was like, okay. So we called him Papa, and that was 1986. And then I was thinking, did anybody else that was close to us in our family pass away? And there might have been, but the next one I recall was 1999, when my mom's brother Rob died because, he killed himself. And that was absolutely devastating for my mom, and also for my grandmother, my mom's mom. They pretty much sunk into themselves. And my grandmother was never the same. And by 2003, she was in a home because, they said she might have dementia, but I think she was just so depressed that she just sunk into herself and never said another word. So that was 99. The following year, in 2000, Grandma died. That's Grandma and Papa, Mom's grandparents. And then in 2005, Trish and I lost our son, Xander. Big, horrible, traumatic experience when he was trying to be born. He was too big for the canal, and the doctors were incompetent, and they basically killed him, I guess, is what happened. And then no other significant deaths until 2013. That's when my mom's parents passed away and my mom's aunt passed away. So in 2013, she lost her mom, her dad, and her favorite aunt. And then mom killed herself in 2014 because she couldn't take it anymore. And then in 2018, my mom's other brother, Uncle Rick, passed away. And I did an episode on him. I think the episodes were in the 30s at that point. He was a hoarder. He fell asleep with a hot plate and died of smoke inhalation. And then I think just a few days later, maybe a week later, Uncle Remo died. So that was Uncle Rick and Uncle Remo within like a week of each other. And that was the end of my mom's side of the family. And that was super horrendous. And then in 2019, my dad's brother Frank and his sister Anne both died. There were 6 of them altogether. My dad was the youngest. And so that was, let me see, he had, I think the first brother, Uncle Arnold, passed away years and years ago. I don't know the date. And then Uncle Frank, and then Aunt Anne, and then Aunt Mary, his other sister. So now there's just my dad and his brother Albert left. They're the 2 youngest. So there's hardly any of those people left. My dad's dad died in 1996, and his mom died in 74, 2 years before I was even born. So yeah, there's been a lot of dead people in my family, a lot of people killing themselves, and just not good stuff. But anyway, let's turn that around. That's not very fun to talk about. How about celebrities? When celebrities die, that can affect you as well. And even though you don't know these people, you grieve for them. So I just wrote down a few that I could remember right off the top of my head. In 1991, Michael Landon died. You remember him? He was the dad from Little House on the Prairie, and he was the guy from Highway to Heaven. And I watched those shows with my mom all the time. And so that was a big deal. Princess Diana, of course, in 1997. And then we had Robin Williams and Leonard Nimoy passed away. Leonard Nimoy was a huge, huge death for me in 2015, Mr. Spock. And so that was pretty bad. And then we also, of course, over the last few years, we lost Prince and Tom Petty and David Bowie and Michael Jackson and all those people. Alan Rickman, of course, he played, I think Snape in the Harry Potter movies, but who cares about that? He played Dr. Lazarus in Galaxy Quest in 1999. He was also Hans Gruber in 1998's
I meant to say 1988.
Die Hard. So he was a big loss for the geek community as well. And I didn't write anything else down other than that. But it's just a bunch of sad celebrity deaths. A lot of deaths in my family. Lots of failed relationships that I've had to grieve as well. I've lost friendships along the way as well. I'm sure you all have. I've changed jobs multiple times, and sometimes that's exciting and sometimes it's sad. But that's just life. So the grief portal basically is something that you can either stay and wallow in and just be sad about forever, or you can celebrate the lives of these people that meant something to you. Like, for example, you could listen to Prince records over and over again, or Tom Petty records, or David Bowie, or Michael Jackson songs, or watch the movies of Alan Rickman, or do a Star Trek marathon if you're missing Leonard Nimoy, or listen to the comedy tapes of Robin Williams, or do a Little House on the Prairie marathon. All kinds of different things like that. And there's way more celebrity deaths too. Back when I did the Rusted Robot podcast, we always had the Celebrity Death of the Week segment, and that was quite a bit. That was always a lot. There was almost a new celebrity dying every friggin' week, and it was a lot. But that's I don't know. I don't know where I was even going to go with this episode. I didn't know how long it was going to be. I just wanted to touch on it basically, and basically this would be the life celebration for my mother, and that's really it. I thought I would have a lot more to say about this, but I've done tribute episodes in the past, and I don't want to go down the grief portal. I don't want to stay in the misery. So today I posted on Facebook that Mom would have been 63 today, and it's very sad, and we should be having tea because that was her favorite thing, Tetley tea. The year after she died, I got a Tetley Tea Man tattoo, and that's on my right arm. My right arm has actually become my memorial tattoo. I've got my son's name on there with a little angel, and then I've got the Tetley Tea Man below that, and then my mom's signature from a birthday card where it says "Love Mom." And the next one I'm planning on getting, which I should have gotten already several times, but because of COVID I couldn't, is the airplane that belonged to my grandfather. And it was named the Betty Lou, which was my grandmother's name. That's my mom's parents. So one of these days I'll get the airplane on my right shoulder, and that'll be more memorial stuff for my arm. So that's basically it. Do I have a fun way to end this to leave you on a positive note? Sure. Next week is going to be episode 221. And if you can guess what the significance of the number 221 is, well, you're going to win a prize. So send me an email to soulforcepodcast@gmail.com, and I'll pick a winner. In the meantime, if you'd like to support the show, go to ko-fi.com/rustedsoul. That's ko-fi.com/rustedsoul. You can leave a donation for as little as $3 a month, and that'll help with the hosting fees and all kinds of fun stuff like that. Leave a 5-star review in the iTunes store or the podcatcher of your choice. Oh, and for all of you who were wondering, the new podcast that I recently started with Paul and Dan from my Cosmic Pizza guys, we started the Epsilon 3 podcast. It's a Babylon 5 rewatch show, and that's now on iTunes, so you can catch it there. It's the Epsilon 3, all written out, not the number 3, the word 3. So there you go. Check that out. I listened to all those episodes today, and they're pretty freaking good. We're awesome. And if you're not listening to Temporal Trek from Dan, or the Cosmic Pizza with the 3 of us, or Epsilon 3 with the 3 of us, you're missing out. So go check that out. Okay. So that's the end of the show. Hope you enjoy it. If you have some thoughts, definitely email me. But until next time, take care, and remember, it has been said that time heals all wounds, but I do not agree. The wounds remain, In time, the mind, protecting its sanity, covers them with scar tissue, and the pain lessens. But it is never gone. Thank you for listening to another episode of the Soul Forge Podcast. Your support is greatly appreciated, and we hope you'll tune in again next time. Remember that you can visit soulforgepodcast.com for all of our social media links, and don't forget to share the show with everyone you know. The Soul Forge Podcast is your best source for living your best life.
Think about it.
This has been a broadcast of the ESO Network. Be part of the crew and help support our shows by donating to our ESO Patreon or by shopping at the TeePublic store, which can all be found at www.esonetwork.com. The ESO Network, your station for all things geek.